Hi guys, so welcome to this video. This video is going to be the first interview of a long series of interviews that I'm going to do to students of mine, just for you to see, their results, how are they feeling, and for you to know what it's like to be inside this, if that makes sense. So today we have here Jonathon. So good night, good evening, Jonathon. For me, good evening for you, good afternoon, good evening for me, good afternoon for you. How are you? Good?
Good.
Great, great. Well, introduce yourself a little. You're Jonathon, tell us where you're from. Tell us about a little about you.
Okay, so I'm Jonathan. I live in Texas in the US. So I've been studying Spanish since high school, so that would be like 25 years ago is when I started. And I took kind of a long break, after high school. I didn't really practice very much. Not a whole lot. I didn't develop it a lot, but lately I've been wanting to improve it because I really want to do more, Spanish traveling. I don't have more confidence with Spanish speakers. And, if I go, say, to Argentina to meet my family or something like that, I want to be able to talk to them properly.
And Jonathan hasn't mentioned that he studies from Argentina.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. I mean, his last name is Polish, but his dad is from Argentina. So tell the audience, let's call it the audience. So tell everybody who's watching, what kind of things you did before coming into this. Because you came to me, and being honest, you had no grammar. You did have grammar, but it wasn't the best. But
just a little bit of grammar from high school, yeah. I mean, I was trying to learn from videos, and I was trying to learn from kids' books, which it was helping a little bit. I tried messing with Duolingo, which it isn't. I mean, it wasn't really that fun. It was just, jump to these little hoops, and it tells you that you're doing okay, whatever. So it's like I could read the books, but I couldn't speak properly. I couldn't form all the sentences that I wanted to say because I didn't really understand the grammar. Even though I could understand what they're saying, I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you had an amazing vocabulary. You remember that day that we were talking about the imperative, how to do the imperative, and one of the activities was to write a recipe.
Oh yeah, I knew all the recipe words.
Your vocabulary, your cooking vocabulary was amazing, because till this day I don't have any kind of cooking vocabulary, English vocabulary. Like, whenever somebody asks me, hey, how do you say, I don't know, ajo in English, I'm like, I think it's garlic, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's because I never cook in English, right? And Jonathan knew all the words, all the verbs, all the ingredients, everything. So I was really taken aback by that. But it goes to say how willing he was to learn, and how much vocabulary he did learn. But at the end of the day, vocabulary is super important. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a deep understanding of the language, and if you don't understand how the language works, it's very difficult to put all those words together, right? So you need both. You need grammar and vocabulary. So you are in this situation for several years, actually. I asked you this a couple of weeks ago. Can you explain the audience the analogy you did between Duolingo being a spoon and, is the sound okay?
Yeah, where I was sitting in my face.
Well, maybe you should look for another spot. So can you please tell the audience again? I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah.
That's better.
That's better. Yeah. The analogy you did between Duolingo and a spoon. You remember that?
Between Duolingo and what?
A spoon. You remember
Spoon?
that? You
Can't
don't?
remember.
Okay. I swear to you, you were the one telling me this. You said that using Duolingo was trying to dig a pool with a spoon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Using a small tool for a big job because it's only giving you, like one little thing at a time. Like it's just reinforcing what you already know a little bit, but not in a sentence. It's just getting the right answer, but that's not real life. It's getting the right answer. It's being able to say everything correctly
Yeah.
and giving it the right mood and context and all that.
Yeah, and as you said, if you try to dig a pool with a spoon, you are digging, right? You are moving
Yeah,
that,
you're making progress.
but it's very slow. And you said that, well, taking classes, it's actually hiring a pool company, right? You're actually doing things. You have to
Yeah.
spend time and sacrifice, but yeah. So now that we've been working together for the past 7 months, I believe. How do you think about the classes? What do you think about the classes? What are the highlights of the classes?
I mean, it's giving my brain a workout. It's the hard work that I need to be doing. So it's almost exhausting doing the class and when I'm doing the assignments. But it's what I know I need to be working on. It's giving it's focusing the effort in the right place.
Hmm. Um,
And pushing it towards a real goal.
do you feel like your Spanish has skyrocketed ever since we started?
I would say it's skyrocketed. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
a
lot on
funny.
upwards. Instead of just growing bigger, like the bigger vocabulary, but it's how am I gonna explain to Cook? Like I can just point to all the things that I know the word of, but I can't say properly how to do it. So up, not out.
Yeah, it's more vertical instead of horizontal, which is fine being horizontal. Problem is that you are being horizontal for 2 decades. So it was time to build vertically. Great. And how do you feel about the assignments? Because for those of you who don't know, usually what I do, if I have one-to-one classes, that we have classes once a week, 1 hour a week. But at the end of the day, classes are the cherry at the top. It's like, and I heard these from a psychotherapist. You remember one of the assignments from this week? It was about a psychologist/psychotherapist talking about the importance of pain and how you have to feel pain and everything.
Yeah, so your body knows what to do,
Yeah,
or you
I'm not
survive.
if this was this guy or another psychology that he heard who said that what really mattered was sessions, the time between one session and the other when you are in the middle of a psychotherapy process. So this is kind of the same. What really matters is the time and the things you do between one class and the other, because at the end of the day, a class is like a compass, like a map. It's a guidance. And yes, it's useful, but it's you the one who has to move, right? And it's you the one who has to walk. So what I do is that we have classes once a week, 1 hour a week, but then throughout the week, every single day, you have something to practice Spanish with. We have especially, correct me if I'm wrong, but especially we have a lot of reading activities and a lot of video, a lot of input activities, alongside some writing activities now because your level is growing, and of course on grammar as well. So how are you feeling about the assignment?
Yeah, I think that it's well rounded. It there's things where it gives me the opportunity to listen and answer questions based on what I heard, and I'm getting a lot of different accents, and I'm getting exposure to the type of grammar that I'm studying so that I'm using it, and a chance to practice what we learned and then get some feedback on it so that keep it reinforced.
Hmm. Yeah. So overall, you're enjoying it, basically. Yeah, cool. Um, oh, you mentioned the accent. It's funny because people are very worried about, the accent thing. Well, my girlfriend is Colombian, but you're from Spain. What is going to happen? Nothing. Nothing is going to happen. It's fine. Um, I always say that, Spanish shares 95% of vocabulary in every single Spanish speaking area and 99% of grammar. Plus, if you have, I always put the same example. If you have a Mexican teacher, are you gonna get Mexican? Like, are you gonna understand Mexican speaking? Yes. Are you gonna get Mexican slang? No. And at the end of the day, especially if you're a beginner, accents are not that important. But once you get to a certain level, you have to get exposure to a lot of accents, especially accents that are a very bit different from the ones you're used to as a student. So now that's what we're doing, right? We recently got into Argentinian accent. How did it feel? Because for you it's kind of close, but not that close at the same time because it's a very different accent. But at the same time, it's your family's accent. How did you feel about that?
Well, so this is my first practice really having to try to understand on my own without somebody translating it after the fact or saying, oh, this is basically what they meant. So I'm having to really understand what he's saying, like with the, I have to use the clues,
Mm,
and then it starts to make sense what he really said.
mm.
uh I don't know if
Oh
that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. That's right. So now to finish up, I have two questions. So thing number one is that now we are trying to get to a B2 level. Actually, we're using B2 book and B2 activities and B2 videos, B2 everything. For those of you who don't know that, a B2 would be considered fluency, basically an independent speaker. Um, so if everything goes well, by the end of this summer, 2025, you're gonna get fluent. So how does it feel? How does it feel to be so close to your final goal?
I mean, it feels like I'm not close because I'm only focusing on what I don't know, but I know that I'm doing way better than I was. I know a lot more and practiced a lot more. So, um, but it feels good to
Mm,
to have done something with my time that was worthwhile, you know,
mm.
and to actually be closer to realizing, to be able to go somewhere and talk confidently about anything in any situation without having to worry, be uncomfortable
Mm.
and try to figure out who's going to explain this to me. I can do it
But
myself.
do you plan to continue like once you get to B2 level, do you plan to get to C1 level so that you can proficient the language? Well, get proficiency in the language?
I don't know yet. I'll have to see when I get there. Um, but it seems like something I'm going to end up doing
Mm.
because usually what ends up happening is I want to know more and I want to get better. So that's probably what will end up really happening, even though I feel like I want it to be enough, but it's probably not really going to be enough for me.
And then the last question, and we finish this because I don't want this to be that long. What would you say to someone that was in your situation, like someone who is really, really wanting to learn Spanish, is doing everything he or she is capable of doing, buying books, going on YouTube, Duolingo, Babel, Rosetta Stone, whatever, but still they never understand native people. What would you say to these people? What would you recommend to these people?
That the work that you put in is worth it, and it's going to be more worth it if you are really focused on what you really need to be doing, where your real level is, and the only person that can do that is a Spanish teacher.
Hmm.
they can evaluate you. So your friend might say you're doing great, you know, or somebody out on the street might say, yeah, you speak good Spanish, but you've only given what you're good at. You haven't really been tested.
Cool.
So I think it's worth it to pay for lessons and to do all that extra work that comes with the lessons.
Cool. So thank you very much, Jonathan. That was the end of the interview. I'll see you next week, I guess. And for the rest watching, as I was saying, this was the first of a very long series of interviews. So hope you guys see you in the next video. Okay, so thank you very much for